my end. You able to see me clearly?
Yes, what's going on, my dude?
Hello, how are you doing, Mr. JP, aka Blank? I
Doing
am
good, man.
honored and I am blessed to have this opportunity to speak with you at long freaking last.
Hell yeah, my
Oh
guy.
my goodness gracious. First off, let me just make sure I get this out the way by saying thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
dude.
and thank you so much for not only all your incredible music, but absolutely tearing up Webster Hall on your birthday. It was an absolute honor to see you live, see you for a little bit. And this like that was like our third time ever seeing you perform live. First time
Oh
was in
yeah.
Electric Zoo when you were on one of the stages in Electric Zoo. Secondly was of course you doing your tour with Sullivan King and absolutely tearing it up there with Lays and him. And now you are doing your very own tour, Earth to the Stars. And already, I think we're like around like the halfway point of the tour. It's
Mm.
absolutely going so incredibly freaking well. Every single supporting artist that is on the list, from a MIDI to AU5, Nicodemus to Pauline Hare to Chandler Layton, and everyone else. It's an absolute honor to have witnessed you live and to really experience the power of not just your music, but also the Nobodies as well. Ever since I believe 2019, 2020, when I first got introduced to you, thanks to Millennium with Gorgeous, with you, Bipolar Sunshine, I just fell down that rabbit hole, and it's an absolute hole. I do not mind me diving into all your incredible music. It's an absolute honor and pleasure and privilege to finally tell you personally and properly thank you for everything.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate the intro there. That was great. I
I mean,
remember
I
I saw
have
you
to
at
give it right.
New York last time, right?
Yes, at Webster Hall on your
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, yeah, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I remember seeing you there. That was really good.
Thank you so much. And I had to make sure I threw the freak down and obviously celebrate your birthday, but properly. So it was an
Probably.
absolute honor to able to see you there. It was an absolute honor. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, man.
But I let me just be honest. We already knew like no, I don't. I kind of do not know, but um, you starting this journey as like creating the name, the project that is Blank, was it like written in the stars for you to do it, like Earth to the Stars, or was it kind of like you had to like discover it and like say, you know what, this is something I want to pursue in my career?
Is this blank the project overall?
But Blank the project,
Yeah.
like right when you like step foot into the EDM scene.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess like preceding that, my background was very much like I played guitar when I was younger, and my brother and my mom were musicians as well. My brother was a drummer in a band and all that sort of thing. So I was like sort of surrounded by that when I was younger. And they helped me learn the guitar when I was that age and like all through like my teens and stuff. And I kind of like knew that there was like some sort of musicality in me as well as I was an athlete of sorts as well and an visual artist as well. So like this kind of like creative energy had always been around. When I discovered DJing, one of my friends showed me this program that you could blend two songs together and stuff when I was about 17 years old. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So we started like DJing like parties and stuff like that. And then I found production after that, about 2 years after, and you know when you can go, oh yeah, you can learn how to make like sounds like Skrillex and dead Mouse and Knife Party and those guys back in those days. I was like, yeah, like sign me up, let's go. So it kind of like fell into my lap from there. I really enjoyed like it was. I really enjoyed playing for crowds. DJing was like a huge sort of like it sparked a lot of I don't know, of joy in me when I first started. So I just kind of kept following that and realized that you know I did enjoy the music creation side of things as well as just playing it. So it was a bit of a shift going from like playing guitar when I was like just learning other people's songs to then going, okay, I need to like actually learn how to make my own and create my own stuff then. So that was like a journey in itself as well. And but you know, I caught the bug from then and just kind of went on. I had a project before that was just like me figuring out what I wanted to do. I was making like more big room EDM stuff and Melbourne bounce and like that kind of stuff because that was what was big where I was in Australia. And Eventually I figured that I really enjoyed bass music and I wanted to do the drum and bass thing and like delve more into that world and also like the melodic aspects of things as well. So trying to over the course of a few years, I sort of tried to figure out how I could meld all of that together, and then Blank came along in 2016. After I kind of leveled up in my production and in my writing, and I found like my manager, and I found Ministry of Sound, my first label in Australia, and they were sort of like, I feel like we feel like your music is at a point now where we should like branch off into this new sort of project, this new segment, and really start defining who you are as an artist. And yeah, and Blank was kind of the name Blank as well, sort of comes from this idea of this like blank canvas, this like fresh slate, as
Hmm.
well as encompassing this idea of diversity and like uh, in terms of music, in terms of like what I want to pursue and the sounds that I'm going to be delving into, I suppose. So it kind of like just is this open platform, and that's kind of what the name was suggesting. And so yeah, from then on, it kind of like I've always had the mentality of following whatever feels right at the time in my life and just putting complete faith in that. And I did that with like different athletic things and cycling and like some visual art stuff. And over time, those didn't end up working out. Music was, but and I put 110% into whatever I do, and those were the things that I was doing at the time. And then when music came along, I delved 100%, 110% into that, and I haven't stopped since. So
Right.
yeah,
It's amazing to hear that little story of yours. Absolutely freaking incredible. And I would say maybe one thing missing is that it's really 100% in music and not maybe 105% in rock climbing. So I know you're a big fan of
yeah.
climbing stuff. So I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
Yeah, no, so I mean like I have my hobbies that also run alongside music. Music is obviously like my priority in life generally, but I always have these hobbies that kind of pop up, and rock climbing's been my most recent one that I started in like 2020 during the pandemic. One of my best friends in Australia when I was back home, he was like, "Man, I've got this thing and it's really fucking cool." And he and I did like we knew each other since we were like 4 years old, so we went through school together. We did the athletics together and all these different things. And so he knew he was just like, I know you're gonna love this. I know you're gonna love this shit. And so he showed me, and then that's become my new my new like obsession in a sense. So yeah, I've been doing that. I just literally came from rock climbing too, so I still got
I
my
mean, I kind of guessed that. I mean,
yeah.
it is quite incredible. I have yet to try out myself. I mean, where I am in NYC, we do have a few rock climbing places here and there. So hopefully, can maybe try out all the places and see which one really brings up that adrenaline.
Yeah, man,
But
exactly,
it's
exactly.
not. But it's not. But I'm happy that rock climbing was it's like the biggest hobby that you really love to do a lot. You had like that athleticism in you. It's absolutely amazing to hear. As for the music, though, like you said, you were trying to step into do a big group, Melvin bounce, that kind of thing. Was it like easy to create the project that is Blank since you already had some experience? Because a lot of people out artists sometimes I speak to, they always cringe when they hear the old stuff sometimes. Like you
Yeah,
have the first let's say for example the 2-track EP that is Black Mamba and Koji from
yeah.
October 2016, and then we go into Downright Records with Blue with Samarush. Was it hard for you to really try to find your sound, or was it kind of easy?
No, I've been in a like so I mean I still cringe when I think about the old stuff as well. We all do. I feel like, there is a very, very, very long time, a long period of time of us as artists learning ourselves and learning the craft. By 2016, I had been producing for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and realistically, like that just that's still early days. There are a lot I know a lot of guys that have been producing for like 3 or 4 years, and they're incredible already, and I'm just like, man, imagine what you're going to be in like 5 years time. But yeah, I guess it's always a learning curve. We're always learning, and so we're always evolving. So at the time then, I was just putting in everything that I could into what I was doing and trying to figure it out. But like I mean I still like Koji's cool. Koji's like this Mumbaton like 110 BPM like almost mid tempo sort of thing back then. That I really enjoyed the way it sounded back then. Even Black Mamba's like this bass house 126 thing, as was the style at the time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I have always been open to whatever was creatively calling me at whatever time that is. So I've kind of done a lot of different genres. As I say, I've done the Moombahton, I've done like the bass house, I've done the experimental bass stuff, I've done the progressive like electro house with Nashi, and then kind of did a little bit of trap stuff with these early flips. And then, I started a drum and bass project. I've been doing mid tempo, done the dubstep, done the melodic dub. Like, I've kind of been all over the place. And that was the idea early on. Now, I feel like I'm at a point in my career where um, I feel like I want to hone in a little bit on uh, certain sounds. Um, so that's kind of an exciting thing. Like 2023 for me at the moment is that I think that's a big focus for me is trying to figure out and like hone in on what's like really fulfilling me creatively and rounding me out, but also like having a bit more of a focal point because
Hmm.
yeah, it's kind of no, I don't know if I'm alienating fans necessarily because I do have really, really amazing fans who understand that that's what I do. But I think that I think that there's a plus to really focusing on a couple of different things, whether that be like the drum and bass stuff having its own like world, its own branding, its own name, its own look and feel and sound. That to me sort of showcased how important it can be to just really hone in and focus on one sound. So yeah, I think this year is going to be a lot of mid tempo, and a lot of those sorts of sounds crossing over into if I do dubstep, it'll probably incorporate some of those sounds. If I do melodic dubstep, it'll probably have a bit more of like a harder, um, yeah, aggressive sort of sound to it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm enjoying exploring that at the moment. Yeah.
Right. That's amazing to hear. And I'm so happy that at least like 2023 is going to be the year where they really want to hone on certain sounds. Like you felt like more like motivated and more inspired than ever, and you're just ready to go. It's amazing to hear. I'm so happy to hear that. However, I'm just wondering, just like, are there any like no certain sounds that you want like maybe like want to bring back? I'm not saying bring back Koji like the Moomathon type thing,
Yeah.
but it seems like even like when you were growing the Blank project, it seems like you were kind of going all over the place with the sound. Like we have your collaboration with Rez, mixed singles, which almost had like kind of that like really like mid-tempo Moomathon type feel to it. And then of course we go into the Deadbeast journey, I believe in 2019 and 2021, where we had Change the Decay the Fall, and Fragile Violence, that type of thing. And it was more directed more towards I think the drum and bass section, except for a few because you were trying to really like play with drum and bass before AEON mode. So are there any like sounds you kind of like wish maybe you can either to return to somewhat or maybe give it a fresh coat of paint like you did with Frat?
Yeah.
Like I think one song you did in particular was I believe was Flatline. First it was just like like a dubstep bass type of song, and then you gave it the acoustic feel
Mm.
to it.
Yeah. So I guess what it's funny that you bring that up because yeah, essentially that's kind of what I'm doing is I am kind of revolving back to the mid-tempo sound because that was what a lot of people found me through. Was those kind of like flips through SoundCloud, those like Eon Break, for example, and the Madeon flip and like
Mm-hmm.
Pressure, that flip and it turned into a remix. Like that sort of sound, I'm kind of like, as you say, giving it a fresh coat of paint and revamping that. I think what I kind of lacked in what was talking about before is what I really am focusing on is finding my authenticity and finding what feels like me. Over the past couple of years, throughout the Blank project, I think that's what I've been trying to like discover is like trying all these different sounds and really exploring what actually feels authentic to me in the project. And I think I'm kind of realizing what that is now. And a lot of that is the mid-tempo stuff. And I think I have a spot in the scene that is very me with that sound, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, so that is kind of exciting. I mean, even things like Hacker with BTSM, like that's kind of, that first section's got, that 110 like mid-tempo sort of like aggressive sort of sound, and that is like all throughout. And when I do dubstep and melodic dubstep, I'm like that feels good. But I feel more at home, I think, with the mid-tempo stuff, and more authentic and more unique, I suppose is another word. So yeah, I'll definitely be exploring that a little bit more this year. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. And I don't know, like in the future, there could maybe be like your own remix version of Signals, since it kind of like has a mid tempo type of feel to it. Or if possible, like you already have Nicodemus in your lineup,
Yeah.
maybe work something with them, because I had a chance to speak with him last year, and let's just say a lot of his mid-tempo flips are absolutely killer. So maybe
Yeah.
that's one man you can kind of like go to for a lot of inspiration and maybe make blow something together. I would really love to hear that in
Yeah,
the
he's
future
been on
as
my
well.
he's been on my radar for a minute for sure. So, and he's doing some really cool stuff. Him and Vendetta as well. He's from North Carolina. He's also crushing it at the moment with that sort of sound. So yeah, it's I'm definitely keen to work on something with him one day to get something together.
I can hardly freaking wait. And of course, so like I said, a little something with Rez. I know you pretty much got her on speed dial, so that
Yeah.
could maybe be something. That could maybe be something
Yeah,
coming in there.
that's in the mix
But
for sure.
this leads to kind of the question I would ask is that you're a person who really loves to do like a lot of experimentations. So like you said, like Mitepo feels like it's your home, but you dealt with Belong Dubstep with like Land the Wayfarer. You've done a lot of like other projects, solo projects too, not just like with your solo stuff, but of course on Bandcamp with Project 1543 during the
Yeah.
pandemic, where like I feel like that was the moment where you just want to just go all out and just try certain type of things, see what stuck, and kind of like what like brought you to where you are now. So
Yeah.
speaking of that, do you like enjoy like trying different types of things and like trying different types of genres and seeing which one really sticks out to you? I feel that that's the journey that you're kind of going on, which is whatever works and whatever makes you feel really good. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm very proud of. This is what I want to stick with now. This is blank. This is who I am.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you bring that up as well. The that project was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of experimentation. That was like that was a cool like exercise because yeah, I got to like I'm very all over the place with like my music taste, and as you say, like I kind of jump ship here and there, and even through what I listen to. So I suppose like it's been a blessing and a curse not having the boundaries in my project because I have been able to kind of like just do anything, but at the same time like that might not be the best thing to do because I don't get to like really sit with a sound for like years on end and become like a master at that one sort of sound. So,
Understood. But
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. However, I would kind of like maybe do a rebuttal against that, because I know so many artists out there who are versatile with their music, who has tried different types of things, and they really made a killing out of it, and really like kind of like I call them kind of like EDM almanacs, because like you don't know what to expect from them. I think a perfect example is your bosses and Deadbeats. Zed's Dead. Perfect
Yeah.
example I can think of is We Are Deadbeats Volume 4, which did your remix for Bumpy Teeth with Subtronics, absolutely freaking incredible. Love it to freaking death. But if you look at that album, a lot of the songs are not the same. It's like
Yeah.
one, like you can literally put each one in its own specific genre, and it's like all over the place. But Stead found a way to like make that work. Like every
Yeah.
single song you hear is something different.
It still
Get
builds though.
you can get a house feeling from like just one. You can get like a really deep mid tempo dark type of feeling with Death Pack with Ether. You can have something like very dubstep wise with Bumpy Teeth with them Subtronics. Then you go into Save My Grave, Stars Tonight, and those type of songs. They found a way to like really make it work. So maybe you can take some inspiration or like thoughts from them regarding doing that. I feel like I would love to hear like an album of like you trying certain things out and like show it to the world that I am not just a one trick pony. I can do so much more stuff. You've proven it over and over and over again. You're still proving it now. Do it balancing out the bass and the dubstep with the drum and bass project with AEON mode. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't stop the curiosity. I wouldn't stop like saying like that's kind of a curse thing. I feel like there's always a blessing in between the lines, and I'm seeing the blessings within you. That's the reason why I freaking adore you so freaking much in your music, because you never know what to expect, and that's something I adore from someone as incredible as you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I do agree with the ZZ thing. I think that they have found a way to, as you say, like genre hop and make it work, and all of it's fantastic, you know? So that they are definitely a model and a role model for me and what I want to do with my project. So yeah, no, you're 100% right. 100% right. I don't
This
think I'll be sitting in the one sound. Like I'm not gonna do like yeah, mixed signals like 10 times in a row. If I was to do an album, like that's not going to happen 100%. So don't worry about that. But I think there's
I feel like a perfect title for an album, if it ever does come out, could just be, this is blank, and just leave it
this
at
is
that.
yeah.
Because
We are deadbeats. This is blank.
or maybe who knows, like this is blank, or like I am a nobody, that type of thing. They like
Yeah,
really like really make it like as big as possible, and let people come into your world and see what you can do and what you can make, and like actually take them on a journey. Similar,
yeah,
like give it the same energies like Land of Wayfarer. Like you said with that EP, you were like focusing more on like things being connected, it having a story, like it like transporting you to a world where this type of adventure happens here, this type of adventure happens here, and I feel like maybe give the album the same type of treatment. I mean, I absolutely adored Land of Wayfarer. I really like understood like what was going on when you listen to the lyrics, when you really feel the ride of each song, from Echo Chamber to Arc to my personal favorite, Only You, because it's Maggie York in it, and I'm a simple
nice.
man. I'm sorry, I'm a simple man. I have to mention that song because I'm a simple man. I see Maggie York, I
Maggie,
click. I
yeah,
hear Maggie York, I click. And it's an absolute honor to be a fan of her vocalist work. She's absolutely freaking incredible. Oh my God, I can't stop gushing about her. She's just that amazing. I'm so
she's
sorry, but it's
great.
not
She's
you.
great. We love her.
But
We love Maggie.
it's just that maybe take that type of energy from Land of Wayfarer and bring that into a debut album if it ever comes out in 2023. Because I feel like you can definitely make it work. And of course, I feel like Zed's will be so proud if you can make it work, because I have faith in you. They have faith in you. They see the power and passion and the drive in you with your main songs before in the EPs, Changing the K to Fall, everything else. I feel like you can do it. You can
Appreciate
definitely do
that.
it.
I feel confident. I feel like now is one of the most confident. I feel like I am the most confident now than I have been in sort of ever in my career in terms of what I want to do. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff in the works for sure. I've been like exploring still, and I feel good about what I'm making currently, and I feel like I'm just putting up a bit of a stockpile of songs at the moment that I can figure out what to do with this year. So yeah,
Right.
you'll see what's happening.
I can hardly wait.
Yeah.
So you already kind of like spoke about like how Zed like really like inspired you. I mean, you're already wearing their merchandise already.
Yes, sir.
So what is it about Ophelia that really like lured you to like work with them? Because it's not just the Wayfarer EP that's a part of it. We also have Boom, we have Survive, Wild and Broken, Spark. What
Yeah.
what like lured you into Ophelia so much?
My dear love for Seven Lions. He was one of the early artists that I got into when I found EDM. Rush Over Me is obviously a classic and is still one of the most amazing songs in the scene. So it was stuff like that that kind of brought me in, and was always a dream to work with Jeff, or work with the label that he is a part of, that he runs. So that sort of sound, like he's always done amazing stuff, and I felt like the kind of melodic music that I wanted to make was going to live in that world, and so like that was always the aim, sort of thing. Like it wasn't necessary. I wasn't really into like I wasn't huge into the sort of the trap sort of stuff, and so the specific labels that like lived with that, and I didn't feel like I lived there, and there were other labels that also like could have housed melodic music that I was like, that doesn't feel like the right fit. So I was also getting more friendly with the people inside of that label as well, and just resonated the most with them and Jeff, and the sounds in that label. So yeah, it just made sense, and we really liked the crew over there, and Jeff is amazing, and so it all just like kind of worked out and made sense, and it fit.
It really fits. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy that someone as incredible as Jeff Seven Lines has brought you into his family and really like let you have the freedom to like make whatever you want, and like
Yeah.
not only just do like some melodic stuff, but also really make some very strong and very heavy stuff like Boom, of course, and of course like bring that mixture together with Wild and Broken. I don't know
Yeah.
who did like the second drop there, but it absolutely goes freaking hard to the paint. That was you.
Yeah.
I was thinking either was it trifecta or was it blank. I know
Yeah. Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
you are pretty skilled when it comes to bringing the house down.
Bringing the heavy. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. No, yeah. The guys, I was kind of brought in to do the heavy drop there because the guys had done most of the heavy lifting on the other parts of the song. They absolutely
Mm-hmm.
crushed that, obviously. So, yeah, we all worked together to bring it all together in that second drop as well. And yeah, it worked out to be a really good piece.
That is absolutely amazing to hear. And there's one thing I do want to mention because you talked about, of course, a little bit about the future, like what 2023 is going to hold, and this the year where like you really felt more inspired, more motivated than ever before to like keep on going, keep on working. I'm just curious to know because this is something I really want to ask badly because
Yeah.
I'm just gonna speak this in verbatim for what you said, like your last video you ever posted on Twitter, media wise, where you like said that even though 2022 was an amazing year, AEON, we had AEON 1, AEON 2, you had your own debut tour, you worked with Sullivan King, you're in Denver, Colorado with William Black and INZO, and there are two artists I absolutely freaking adore. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all sunshine and unicorns on your side. We can't deny that it was kind of tough for you.
Yeah.
But this leads to the question, which is this. You said these words here. I went through professional and personal struggles just like everybody else. They were pretty dark times. I'm in the process of discovering what I really want for next year and reconnecting myself and my creativity. Here's a question for you. Do you know what you really want this year, or is it still like still like you're still writing that down?
I mean, we never really know exactly what we want, I suppose, do we? But I have a much more clear idea now of what I want and what I want for this year. In terms of musically, I know a better idea of what I want. Like we sort of talked about before, it was kind of like I went away for that little cabin trip about a week, 2 weeks ago now,
Mm-hmm.
and just like kind of disconnected from everything and everyone for the most part and just went and wrote music for a week in the middle of the mountains in Colorado. And it's that sort of experience that helps me um, really connect with me and what I want and kind of like gives my life the space and gives my mind the space to figure that out. So that was a really helpful time, and it definitely helped me kind of like figure out the things that I want for this year. But I think it just gave me a clearer head to move forward. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I definitely feel confident with what I want, and after talks with like my manager and my agent and some label heads, we have like a fairly clear idea of what's sort of happening moving forward this year, and
Mm-hmm.
that's making me feel more motivated and more excited and more inspired and all of those sorts of things. So,
Right.
yeah. It's all moving forward. But like I say, like in that video, basically all that's saying is, I'm a big believer of not. I mean, social media obviously, as we all know, is very can be very toxic and can be very like, hey, my life is perfect and that's all you show on there. And
Mm-hmm.
just that little comment was just in the hopes to sort of show that I am also not a normal human being, like you know what I mean, and we all go
Right.
through shit. I went through shit last year. It happens to everybody, and I just wanted to at least like show that and portray that we're all going through this stuff together, and that this year can be. I want to build like a community with the nobodies, like we have been, to be there for each other and all those sorts of things. So, and we've been
Right.
doing it really well, and I absolutely adore the nobodies and like what they are and what they stand for, and it's just such a wholesome little community. So I guess it's just being as transparent as possible, and yeah, just helping everybody realize that we're not all these like glistening sparkles in life. Where we have our what's the word, tarnishes.
Right.
you know
We all
so
have. I would use the word flaws.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm so happy that you mentioned that and you talked about that. I feel like that's something that I feel like more and more artists should maybe say to their fan base, no matter what, is that I feel like you have those people, those who like like because you reach a certain type of level, like social media wise or like attention wise, they'll follow you wherever you go. I feel like I didn't want to shout out the nobodies like this, but when you were coming up to Webster Hall, I kind of take accountability for this. There was such a huge crowd following you. It was like your friends and family, but of course, like all the other fans who kind of say, "Oh, there's Blake." Hey!
Yeah.
I'll admit, I was accountable for that because I did want to say hi to you to a little bit, but I knew I had to step back because I did not want to look creepy. We all kind of enter that mode. It's like we see someone we really love, and it's like,
You're good. You're good. I
but
ended up saying hey to you
at,
anyway, so yeah, it worked out.
right, but it's all about like keeping the self control within you and saying yourself, you like Blank is not is no god. That's the reason why he calls his place nobodies, because
Correct.
we're just nobodies just trying to maybe become somebody, probably maybe not, but we're all human. We're all just trying to live our lives, trying to do our jobs, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Don't put me like on the pedestal. It's that type of
No.
energy that I feel like
Exactly.
more artists should like tell their fans and make sure they understand is that we all do the same things.
Yeah.
Like I hate referencing this, but it's so true. Like the monologue from Shakespeare,
Yeah.
like has not a Jew eyes, have not a Jew's hands, organs, dimensions, feelings. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh?
Yeah.
It's the same basic principle here. So
Absolutely.
I'm so
Absolutely.
happy that there's someone like you who's that humble and who's that like open minded to knowing that we are all human. We're all trying to do our own stuff here, and just knowing that there are people out there who are inspired by what I do and what I make, and who are moved by what I do and what I make, it should be good enough. At
Yeah.
least let us know we have that deeper connection. Like you mentioned in your past interviews, like hearing the music, like really indulging yourself in the world of what you're trying to make. That is like the pinnacle of like really feeling euphoria through music. That's what should truly build the bond.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, like, there's people like living with someone like Inzo, for example, who I think he embodies that like so well, and like that's really inspiring to sort of like be around him because yeah, him and his music is it, to me is just like the pinnacle of that creating this experience and creating this world and of euphoria and this
Overthinker.
experience and world. Yeah, just through music because I know how much he puts into how much emotion and how much time and how much energy he puts into his music and his shows and everything. And it's like that kind of stuff's inspiring to me too. So yeah, I try to at least make sure that I am doing trying to do a similar sort of thing with me and my people as well.
Right. And just out of curiosity, if like no one knows, or sometimes I sometimes get confused with this, like define what the word nobodies is regarding like your group and like your
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, so Nobodies to me is basically just this idea of this lack of ego, and I suppose like what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to portray is that I am the same as everybody else, and we are all on the same planet. Like I have grown up in different friendship groups and all these sorts of things, and also felt like I was not fully accepted by these groups and these people growing up, and I've never had like this huge group of friends or anything like that. So it's always been felt conditional in a way. And so when I have this sort of platform, my aim and my like what I've always kind of wanted to do is create this safe space for everybody to be involved and to like create and emphasize the importance of welcoming and one person isn't above the other, and this is the whole point of the nobodies. Is like there isn't this ranking, there isn't this tier system, or this isn't this social like whatever. It's kind of just like everybody's on the same plane, everybody's a nobody, and that's how we can all connect in a more authentic sort of way. At a deeper sort of level, I mean, I kind of created this story of where would live in this kind of world, and it's this kind of like post sort of half apocalyptic thing, and the Nobodies is this safe group of people that like it's a band, it's a team of people, like what I mean, and they're looking out for each other and they're doing all these sorts of things, and that's kind of like the story behind all this, and I'm hoping to make that more of a forefront of the Blank story coming through this year,
Hmm.
with the visuals and with the way things look, and also through the music as well. So yeah, it's an exciting time to be a nobody. Let's put it that way. I'm
But
excited to grow more of that.
that's amazing to hear, and that kind of like leads me to like, if since you said that that story is something you want to try implementing more through the music, through your visuals, are you saying that like some of the visuals that we see like in virtual in your shows have like a bit of like more meaning regarding that story? Like for example, I'm just trying to find like that specific logo where it's like, I think I see it right here. It's like, oh, I don't know what it's called. I can't call it just like the blank throwing star because it's
The
very
Ninja
sharp.
Star, yeah.
Like is there more like a meaning like to that visual, and there's something more to it that like connects to the story, or like you talked a lot about like the visual of like the like the leaves, like you mentioned that the
Yeah.
leaves kind of represents like things are changing, like you could try to stop the seasons but you can't, like it will change from yellow to orange, orange to red. It'll change, and it'll like, and after time goes on, the leaves fall off, and then
Yeah.
it'll start growing back again in spring, that type of thing.
Cultural change.
So, does it
Everything's
have
changing constantly, yeah.
right? Does that have like some connection to the story? Are you trying to bring like some of those symbols like to that universe, if possible?
Yeah. No, I mean like that specific logo, not really. There was a logo before that that was actually this like bee that was like scratched and it has like these two brackets. That
Ah, like the one in Sticky Plans.
Yeah, yeah. If you've seen that one, yeah, that one was more of that one had a bit more of a story to it in terms of like that was what the symbol of the nobodies would be in this world, in this post-apocalyptic world. If there was like a stray nobody or whatever, and you saw this symbol, you'd know that you were in a safe area and then the other nobodies were around type thing. That was like kind of the story behind the scratch. Like you'd scratch it into rocks or into the ground or whatever like that. That was the idea behind that. Then this other logo came along that was like the bee like ninja star thing. But yeah, it's just kind of bees, and it made sense with like what I was doing at the time and all that sort of stuff. There isn't a crazy story behind that one though, no. But there may be some iteration of that moving forward this year. I'm not entirely sure yet, but yeah, there's some. I'm trying to lean more into. I'm creating more of this world and leaning more into that with a lot of everything that's kind of moving forward. So yeah, and visual wise, there will be more like links to that as well as artworks and things like that too. So yeah,
Right.
it'll be cool. It'll be exciting.
It'll be amazing to see, and I can't wait to like like really like study the visuals, like hopefully make the connections. Cause I feel like I'm not trying to put myself above anyone else. I'm a nobody like everyone else, but it's just that maybe I'm the nobody who's more visual than everyone else and really studies everything and wants answers to like really
Yeah,
connect the dots. So
you're an
like
attentive nobody. You're an attentive.
right.
Yeah.
So it's not just the music I listen to. I mean, the music is amazing as well, but it's like give some love to the visual people as well. They're amazing too. Like for example, your mom making that incredible cover for Land of the Wayfarer. She absolutely is a gem, an absolute
Great.
freaking gem.
So great.
And
Watch that.
so please, I don't know if it's possible. Please give my love to her. She's absolutely freaking incredible, and thank her so much for bringing someone like you into the world to bless us with your talent. So
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. She'll be very happy to hear that. She's also very attentive in the Facebook group. So she knows she loves it. She loves all that stuff, and so does my dad. They're huge fans of the group and how amazing and wholesome the group is. So yeah,
that's
I'll let them
just
know though.
please pass the message. I really would appreciate
Will.
that. And but now this kind of leads like since you talked about, of course, making a drum based project of AEON mode. Are you planning on maybe making a universe for that as well? Because I feel like there has been like a lot of time and effort being put into making a side project, even like branching out from Blank, going into AEON mode, and this is like more of the drum and bass territory. Like, are you trying to make more of a space universe out of this, or is there something more going between the stars?
So yeah, the idea behind the project in terms of the visuals and the branding, etc., is that yes, it is obviously like space-esque and lives in that sort of world, whereas Blank is very earthly. So there's that separation there. Um,
Oh, And maybe that's why it's literally called Earth to the Stars, because each and every place,
There he is.
each and every tour date has the AEON mode. So it's kind of like maybe like that's why that goes on kind of like early before like the actual blank comes in, because
Nailed it.
it kind of like raises up to the stars, raises up to space, and then when blank comes in, when it's the main event, it brings us down to Earth.
He's back
And
down to Earth.
I,
There he is.
okay,
Nailed it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know if I'm the first nobody to figure this out, but if I am, I will take this trophy. I will take this trophy.
He loves it. He loves it. Post about it in the group, and you'll find out, I suppose. But yeah, no, that's it pretty much. Is like the two worlds kind of live separately. Obviously, Blank is based on Earth, and then yeah, EM mode is in the stars. Hence, like with the name and stuff like that, it's this kind of like sense of space and this generational time, and it's this kind of like expansive feeling. So yeah, what was the rest of the question? Was that it?
That was pretty much it. Now I'm just kind of like in this mode of like looking at the poster of the tour and trying to like
Yeah.
really read the between the lines.
Dude, have you looked at the tour poster? Like, so there's lots of little Easter eggs in there.
Right.
There's
I am seeing one, if I'm not mistaken, are the flowers like
yep,
right there? Like, is that cup? Is that kind of like the same flower bud from Land of Wayfarer?
yes,
I
yeah. There you go. What
know.
else can you see? What else you got?
I'm still looking. I'm still looking. I'm seeing the mountain, and I am kind of seeing something glowing right at the peak. I
Yeah,
don't know if that's like Mount Everest or something, but it's looking orange. I'm thinking maybe I don't know. It's a
all
fire like
all you,
firewood built by like the orange leaves. I'm thinking deep here. Okay, I'm thinking deep here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got the leaves. You've got the like. What is that? What do the leaves connect to?
The leaves. Whoa, hold on a second. I'm seeing.
Ev-
Hold
Everything,
on a second. I'm looking at the
everything's
leaves
music
now.
based. Like everything is based back to like different musical releases and stuff like that.
Right.
So
I'm just trying to figure out maybe is like am I going to see a rose as well from Fragile Violence? Because
ooh. That would be included in the flowers, but the flowers are definitely more for Land of the Wayfarer.
yeah,
The mountain itself is flatline,
that's what's Flatline. I had a feeling
and
because
then
when I was thinking Snow, I was thinking is it Flatline? But I feel like no, because if you look at the cover for Flatline, it's more kind of like yeah, it's Winterest, yes, but it's more like almost like a snow globe.
yeah, 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 yeah. It encapsulates the same sort of thing though. And then the little flame on top is spark.
That's Spark. Well, yeah, it
Yep,
makes sense because there's a little bit
yep,
of Spark there. That's
that's it.
amazing. I wouldn't have thought it was Spark because I feel like the artwork in the solo Ophelia stuff doesn't really connect because I wouldn't say, although, hold on a second. Yeah, I don't think it really connects because when I think of Ophelia, the artwork for the solo stuff, the singles are more kind of like stock, like magical places. Because it's like even though it's your name on it, it still has 7 lines like majestic
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
feelings written all over it. So I
But,
thought
but
it doesn't make any sense.
the spark artwork has the flame on it though, right? Remember?
Right.
Yeah. So that the flame just represents the flame in spark.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
It's
And
like a
wait.
beacon. It's like a beacon.
And maybe the oh my gosh.
What do you
And
got?
also, since I okay, now that I said like okay, I want to take what I said back. I want to apologize 7 lines because I said that the artwork in the singles doesn't connect to the poster, but I looked at the cover for Wild and Broken. The woods. Is that also kind of like no, the atmosphere for Wild and Broken?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah, it can
A
tie
little
into
bit of
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So maybe I figured
That's a
that
happy
out.
accident. That's a happy
That was a
accident.
happy accident. Okay, so yeah, I found the happy accident there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My only worry is that now, like, let's just hope that when, like, I don't know if it's gonna be like, is this like the debut tour for Blank Earth to the Stars?
Essentially, yeah. It's the first headline tour in
First
America.
headline tour. I just don't. I hopefully the God I don't see a boom happen when it's like Earth to the Stars Part Two. That would be kind of dramatic, but at the same time, it's like maybe this is where it's gonna enter more into like a deeper, darker dubstep territory, if possible. I'm not. I'm just throwing it out there, but I'm just happy to know I'm figuring out some of the clues in the poster, and I can finally get claim my crown as the attentive nobody
That's
who can
it.
actually
Wait,
figure
wait, wait.
things out.
Did we figure out the leaves? Did you figure out the leaves?
I figured out the leaves. Yes,
What
I
were
kind
they?
of figured it out. I mean, maybe like on the surface because when I saw the leaves, I thought, okay, change and
Oh,
decay.
there it is.
But
Yeah.
wait a second. But I am seeing one leaf that might be different. But I'm looking at the Alchemy Shock One remix because it's like very
Oh
dark
yeah.
red with with like a silver
Clever.
leaf.
Clever, clever.
So
Yeah, yeah. Just change and decay is the leaves. So
is the leaves
yeah,
okay?
yeah. So you got that. That's good. That's
I
good.
got that part down. Okay, good. The wild and broken part was kind of just like a cinch. That was kind of a happy accident thing.
I
I'll
like
have
that though. I like that.
so I already see like 4 or 5 songs maybe already connected through the poster, and of course you have Nobody, which is you right there. Just like no, when I see no, I'm thinking Nobody's just like it's gonna be all white. It's gonna be
Yeah.
just all white, white hood, white jacket, white everything. But that and when I remember seeing that for the very first time ever in Electric Zoo when you wore the white shirt, and when I remember reading about the Nobodies, I said to myself, okay, so that makes sense. Like I only wonder though. Okay, this kind of brings up this question because you say that white represents like nobodies. It's a blank slate, but why the jerseys and the merchandise are orange and black? So I don't know if that represents the leaves or anything, but I'm going to be kind of smart, like make it all white. So that way you are like a part
Oh
of the
yeah. Yeah,
nobodies.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. The white thing is somewhat fresh in the US, but it's only been around for about a year or so, and the jerseys
Okay.
we've done since have been the Land of the Wayfarer one and then the Tool one. So yeah, low key we have some white jerseys coming soon.
That's
So
amazing to hear,
it's
and
coming.
I'll make sure I can hopefully cop one of them because I feel like I'll be definitely much more closer to being a true nobody. I just want my little attentive crown, being a
Yeah,
detective
boy.
for the nobody
That's what's
in the
up, dude.
apocalyptic world. But other than that, I'm just curious to know: are there any other artists that have inspired you to make this sound? Because it seems like you have been working with a lot of people, and a lot of people have really helped you get to where you are now. So we talked about Deadbeat, we talked about Zed's Dead. I mentioned some of the vocals already, but are there any artists that's support that's really inspiring you, that inspired you and are inspiring you still today?
Yeah, I mean, guys like Seven Lions have always been inspiring. Um, Knife Party is a big inspiration in terms of just like the creativity and the thematic work that they do, as well as the production quality and the writing. It's all just, to me, it's like that is just the most top tier shit out there. It sucks that they're not doing their stuff as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think the focus is back on Pendulum supposedly, so we'll see what happens there. But Pendulum's also a big inspiration for me. One of my
Mm-hmm.
first electronic loves. Um, and guys like Millennium for sure. Like when I was doing the more melodic stuff again. And then AU5 has been a big inspiration. His production quality and his sound work and like sound design is incredible. And 1788L is me and him when we like work together and stuff like that. It's always a really good time, and he's a brilliant artist. So yeah, he's always like been there for me and inspired me especially in the mid tempo world. So yeah,
That's
at the
amazing to
yeah
hear. And I'm just curious to know if in the future, if there might be an AEON mode tour,
yeah
who is inspiring you in the drum and bass section? I swear if you don't say
yeah
Reaper.
um yeah. So I mean the big guys over in the UK like Metric and Subfocus and Wilkinson, Culture Shock, like those guys are all big inspirations in that sort of sound. Um, Pendulum is also like my main inspiration there. Not that I like gather a lot from them in terms of like the way that I sound, but like they've always been just the main act and main artist that I've listened to drum and bass wise. So like it just innately I feel like they've always been an inspiration. They're so good that I feel like I can never actually like directly you know use what they have because they're just incredible. So
Mm.
um Yeah, but those guys are the major thing. But it's funny because at the moment, like I feel like I'm going through a phase where, like I sort of saying before, is like finding my authenticity and who I am and my uniqueness and stuff is very much about like looking inside of myself and trying not to directly be inspired by one specific. Like, say, I want to be like, I'm gonna make a dubstep song, so I'm gonna listen to AU5 and make something like him. You know,
Ah,
I'm not kind of like in that headspace anymore. I'm trying to just be creative on like through myself, and that's been a really liberating thing to really journey into a lot more. Because it feels more fulfilling that way, you know. So, yeah,
understood. I understand where you're coming from in that regard, but maybe it's just me. It's just my opinion. I just do not believe that, like, when you're inspired by someone, not trying to obviously try and copy them.
right, right.
Maybe you're trying to learn a few things from them and then make it your own. Yes, but I mean, if we didn't have inspirations, if we didn't have like people who like started this whole thing and want us to go
Oh,
and want us
absolutely.
to do it ourselves, like if we didn't have that type of energy, that mindset, then would Blank even exist?
No, 100%. You're right. No, no, no. I'm definitely not shunning off any inspiration ever again, sort of thing. No,
So
definitely
you
not.
can't really say that's a phase that you're trying to get out of, when that's been kind of being like that kickstarted you in the first place,
Yeah,
that made you
everyone
start
has.
producing for the past 4 or 5 years before Blank even began. So
There
I,
is always inspiration. No, you're 100% right. There is always inspiration. It just depends how heavily you lean on those inspirations or not. I mean, like it's funny when people are like producers are sort of asking, how do I find my sound? It's like you don't need to focus necessarily too hard on that because you are what we do and all the like we make thousands of tiny micro decisions when we create music, right?
mm,
No one is ever going to create that exact same formula or the exact same series of thousands of micro decisions. So just you being you and you making your own decisions and looking inside and making those decisions is going to create your sound. The way that you mix, the way that you master, the sound design choices that you make, the melody choices, the intervals that you use, and like those sorts of like and the chords that you make. You have your own personal taste. Everyone does, and like those little micro decisions are going to turn you into what you are, and you don't need to try too hard for that. I feel so. You're right. Like everything is a as artists, we are always imitating. Like art is imitation of the thousands of different things that we see and that we've absorbed over our time as human beings. And our expression of all of those is an amalgamation and that turns into our art. So you're
but
100.
is it still true in art wise that is imitation truly flattery, or is it still like people keep calling it plagiarism?
No, no, no. I mean, again, it depends how. If I go and copy and like use the same shit as like melodies or same whatever as say Spaceless or whoever, then yes, that's plagiarism. But no, imitation is absolutely like flattery. Yes, 100%.
That's something I keep hearing a lot sometimes, and it's like, well, I feel like if push comes to shove and you like really are inspired by someone, maybe I'm just putting it out there. I can kind of see this manifesting. Just maybe combine the AEON mode and do a collaboration with Pendulum and like really learn from what they're doing. I know it's gonna sound impossible. I know this probably so much and it's gonna sound impossible, but I feel like
That's
2023, it's a
it.
brand new year.
That's it.
Give that a shot.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
put that in the universe. We're putting that in the universe right now.
why not? I mean, all you have to do is ask. I mean, that's literally how I've been like operating throughout my entire life regarding the whole me being a fan of like electronic dance music. All
Yeah.
I have to
All
do
you gotta do
is
is ask.
ask,
You're
and
gonna get a no if you don't ask. You know.
that's the worst thing that can happen, and it's not really the worst thing. I mean,
I mean, like when you don't ask, the answer is no automatically. So
right,
you asking just yeah opens
and
the opportunity up.
so I feel like what the words that you're saying, the stuff that you're speaking, like about like how can an artist find their sound, it can also be implemented in real life as well. It's like ask like an artist asking someone, how do I find my sound? It's almost like a human asking somebody, how do I be myself? And I feel like this
Deep,
kind of
my guy. That is deep.
exactly. And imagine that. Imagine a nobody asking another nobody, how do I be myself when I'm just a nobody? I'm sorry. Now I'm going deep.
Damn.
Now I'm
This
going deep
guy.
in the rabbit.
No, I
But
feel that. I
I
felt
feel
that.
But I feel like the words that you said is kind of like can also apply to anyone else. So it's like it's up to you to really to decide like what like you enjoy, what are the things that like really like bring you joy, or like what are the things that really
Yeah.
bring you happiness
Yeah.
that can like truly like make you be yourself. For
Yeah.
me, what saved me and brought me so much joy and happiness was electronic dance music.
Wow.
One
Yeah.
so many genres out there in the world, and so many artists that I've listened to that have inspired me and that has moved me in places that I cannot, in ways that I cannot even describe. And you are no exception to that, Blank. And that's why I thank so many artists so much, and I tell them how much I appreciate them, because without any of them, any of the artists I've talked to, any of the artists I've interviewed, any of the artists I've seen every time live, if they did not exist, I don't think I would have existed, because
Wow.
their music really means so freaking much to me. And I like to say it again, Blank, you are no exception. Ever since I heard the song Gorgeous and I heard the whole album of Ascend from Millennium, it has moved me in places I can't describe. Gorgeous, literally one of the songs that absolutely makes me cry happy tears. And I feel like the words, even some of my Bipolar Sunshine, has touched me in ways like without electronic dance music. I mean, all those days that has passed me by, I can't believe that after all those years, I'm still alive. It's like I can see for the very first time. And yes, it is absolutely freaking gorgeous. That type of music, that type of artists like you and so many people out there has saved me in that way. Yes, I may have my struggles in life, but I can happily say with you by my side, with music by my side, people by my side, I can live a life that is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't hardly describe. I mean, if you want the proof of how it makes you feel, I have footage of it already. So just
Amen to
look that
that, dude.
up.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Your energy, it says it all. So I love and appreciate that. And yeah,
Thank
it
you.
moves me that something that we any artist will say this as well. It just it's so incredible to us that it has that sort of impact on people. That something that we make has that sort of impact. So it truly is touching. So that is incredible.
I'm honored and blessed to happy to be a fan of your work and for it to touch me so. And I feel like the reason why it touched me so much is, and that's the reason why it moves me so much, is because there are no words. Well, a lot of the songs I listen to has no words. It's just nothing but the music, nothing but the melodies. Doesn't need any like no sappy words like to try and make it feel
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
that type of thing. But it was just nothing but the music, and I feel like it unlocked something in me to let
Absolutely.
me truly like feel free and be myself, just and take me on a journey. So, for example, it songs like Echo Chamber. I remember hearing that live for the very first time.
Yeah.
I lost it. I was going insane because it was just that impactful. It was just that powerful. No words spoken, but just the music. And it was a journey. It was a ride. I
That's
could
awesome.
not get enough of.
That's
And
awesome.
so
That's
that's a
an
perfect example.
interpretation there, huh?
That's a perfect example I can think of in my mind. And I can say the same for so many artists out there that they're like, where were you? There are fans of you. Like you said, INZO, you said William Black, who I had the privilege of seeing live already in his Pieces tour this year. I think, yeah, it was this year, the Pieces tour, April
I mean,
22nd, I believe. Yeah.
yeah, well,
So it was another example I can think of right there that absolutely freaking moved me to my core. The Pieces music, Pages, freaking
great.
amazing. And
So
I
great.
have nothing but gratitude, nothing but love, but nothing but just gratitude to say thank you for everything that all of you guys are doing, that you guys have done for me. So
Hell
sorry I'm
yeah,
all over the
man.
place, but I really truly mean every single word.
We love that. We love and appreciate all of that for real. It means the world to us that we can do this, and this is our lives, and it actually touches people in this sort of way. It means the world. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's asking this the final question pretty much. We are kind of touching this a bit. Just don't spoil us too much. What might be next for Blank?
So we've got lots of releases sort of
Well,
lined up.
besides the Earth to the Stars tour, because that's about to finish in March.
Yeah. That's finishing up in March. I'm doing a few dates with Subtronics on his tour, which is really exciting because
Oh
obviously
yes,
the biggest thing
oh
in the world right
yes.
now. So
I
that'll be
can.
super fun.
I'm just waiting for the day, if possible. I don't know if it might be. Again, some dates are blurred, but if I see NYC and I see your name on that list, you know what? Your name's on the lineup for New York. Just
We're there.
give them me to take it, okay? I need that injected in my veins if it's the avant-garde there again. I was there last year when it was just normal fractals,
Yeah,
so this is anti-fractals.
it's
I
anti.
can only imagine the. I can only imagine.
Gonna be crazy.
But go on, go on,
So,
go on.
no, you're good. So we've got that. I've got a few releases coming up. There's the next release will be with it's a collaboration with Hello World, and we've got Luma and JT Roach on singing, which is really really exciting. They're doing like this duet sort of thing, and it's kind of like melodic mid tempo sort of vibe. So it's a really really moving song. Luma has completely like blown this out of the park in terms of her songwriting here. It's like really, really touching. And yeah, having JT on board and singing the other half to it is incredible. So that's a little sneak peek for what we've got coming next.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
there's a few other bits and pieces here and there that will you'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's an
I,
exciting year, man. I'm excited.
I'll have to wait and see, but I immediately lost it. First, you have me at Hello World, so I'm
Like
familiar
his
with his
stuff?
work, and he's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But then Luma and JT Roach together at last, vocally. What the freak, man? What the
Yeah.
freak?
It's gonna be cool. It's very, very cool.
First off, I had a chance to meet Luma,
Yeah.
and that was and she performed in NYC and absolutely threw the freak down. But JT
Yeah.
Roach,
Yeah.
and all the work
Man.
that he's done for so many artists out there, Subtronics, Frank Fats, and working in Song World and on NBC, just
Yeah.
oh my god, I can't
He's the
wait.
man. We go back a long ways. We've done a couple of camps together and stuff like that, and he's the man. So I'm really stoked that we actually get this song out together. So yeah, it's good,
I
man.
I
Couple
can
Give it a few
hardly
weeks.
I can hardly freaking wait. Oh my god.
Yeah,
So
dude.
yeah, I think it's pretty much easy to say that the future is bright for Blank and the Nobodies. I can hardly wait to see how this
Nobody.
tour. I can hardly wait to see how this tour will finish, and you can and it'll end off with a bang. And I wish you the absolute best when it comes to being on the tour with Subtronics. I can hardly freaking
Thanks,
wait
man.
to see you throw the freak down on your tour stops because I know it's gonna be absolutely freaking amazing.
Oh
Just
yeah, and we got some festivals during the middle of the year too, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, lots of music, almost like a release a month sort of thing. So there's lots of music, lots of shows. It's gonna be a freaking awesome year. Like, yeah. So yeah, hell yeah, dude. I'm
I
pumped.
can hardly freaking wait. And of course, thank you so much for letting me have the chance to speak with you. I mean, again, I know I'm no big time interviewer, but I'm just a nobody like you. So to you to have a chance to speak with a nobody like me who's just like steadily rising, but I just really appreciate it so much. I
Yeah,
did not
dude.
have to do this, but I really do appreciate it so much. And this is like possibly like what the best belated birthday gift I ever received.
I
Just
love
thank you
that. Yeah.
so
Happy
much.
birthday, my guy. I'm stoked about that. That's awesome. So yeah, thank
Thank
you for having me on, dude. I mean, like, again, this is what the Nobodies are about. So I'm glad to have gotten on here and had a chat with you, especially for your birthday. Like, your energy is incredible, and I know everyone's gonna tell you that if anyone else jumps on with an interview with you, it's the same. So it's always a pleasure talking to you and seeing you at shows and all that kind of stuff, and seeing you online, and the love that you give the scene is absolutely incredible and completely unmatched. Like it's really really a blessing to all of us having that sort of energy like on the timeline and around in our lives. Like we need more of that. So I am more than happy, and I'm very happy to be doing this with you right now. So
Thank you so much. And that's like the least I could be able. Everything I'm doing is like it's like the least I can do. I know I'm no producer just yet. Maybe not. But the least I can do is at least express my love, express my gratitude to so many artists out there that means that mean the freaking world to me. And I can try to, and I said, no, let me try doing it in different ways and like actually tell them how much I appreciate them. Besides just putting emojis saying like, no, oh, this song is fire. Like that's all well and good, but why just tell it when you can show it? And
yeah,
that's how
yeah,
it all began for me. And look at me,
love it.
and look how far it kind of led me now. And
Yeah,
I
dude.
think it only propel me to other places that I can maybe only dream of. But that's up to me to like really propel it and show people that no, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is something I can give to the community in a community that people think is so cynical, in a world that people think that is so negative,
Yeah,
I want to be the person to like be like the spark of.
exactly. That
I want
positivity.
to be. I'm trying to be that fire on that mountain. I
Yeah,
want to
dude. Trying
be
to be
the
that spark.
spark for the EDM community
Let's
and
go.
proud of it.
That
So
spark of positivity, you know, like that light. You are the light and that of the positivity that is in this scene, and it's a beautiful thing.
thank you so much. So you can pretty much say that who's on the mountain? It's me.
It's you, dude. That's it. Exactly. You're
Ah,
right there.
thank you so much again for
Oh
all your
yeah.
incredible work. I truly appreciate this so much. I
No,
really do.
absolutely. Anytime, man. I'm glad we got to do this. Thank you.
Honored and blessed. I cannot wait to see what's next for Blank.
Heck yeah, dude. Appreciate
Thank you
that.
so much, man.
No